Mandy Stavik, the case no one could forget. She was only 18. Smart, athletic, loved by everyone. Thanksgiving weekend, 1989. Mandy Stavik left home for her usual jog. She had done it hundreds of times before, but this time she never came back. Hours later, search teams combed the area. A family's holiday turned into a nightmare. A mother's scream cut through the cold air. "Where's my baby?" 3 days later, her body was found in the Nooksack River. The case shook Washington state to its core. Everyone was a suspect. No one confessed. The community was terrified. And for nearly 30 years, there were no answers. But here's the twist. The killer was closer than anyone imagined. Mandy Stavik was special. A straight-A student, a cross-country runner, a saxophone player in the school band. She had dreams of college, traveling, and becoming a teacher. Her smile could light up any room. She was that girl everyone liked. And on that cold November day, she left home wearing jogging gear, headphones in place, ready for a routine run. She waved to neighbors. She never made it back. A neighbor's dog came home wet and alone. It was strange. The dog had followed Mandy on her run. When it returned without her, panic set in. Police launched a massive search. Helicopters, dogs, volunteers. Her body was found floating in the river, stripped of innocence, stolen by violence. Her family was crushed. Her mother, Mary, said, "I knew she was gone the moment the dog came back alone." Detectives worked around the clock. They checked ex-boyfriends, neighbors, strangers. Every male in the area felt the pressure. DNA was collected, but this was 1989. Technology was limited, and the killer had been careful. Tips came in, but each one hit a dead end. Months passed. Years passed. The case went cold, but Mandy's name never left the headlines. The community held vigils every year. People still whispered, "Who killed Mandy?" Fast forward to 2009. DNA technology had advanced. Cold cases across the country were being solved using new science. Detective Mike Morgan reopened Mandy's file. He swore he wouldn't stop until he had answers. DNA evidence from Mandy's body was retested. There was a profile, a male, but no match in the national database. This wasn't some random drifter. This was someone who had never been arrested for a felony. Someone living a quiet life. Someone who had escaped suspicion for decades. In 2013, a name kept resurfacing: Tim Bass. He was Mandy's neighbor back in 1989. He had lived less than a mile from Mandy's house. At the time, police never focused on him. Why? Because he seemed normal, quiet, family man. But when detectives knocked on his door in 2013, Tim refused to give DNA. "I have nothing to do with that case," he said. That refusal raised alarms. Detectives went undercover. They collected DNA from a soda Tim had thrown away at work. And when they compared it, it matched the DNA from Mandy's body. After nearly 30 years, investigators had their man. When the arrest was made, jaws dropped. Tim Bass, the quiet neighbor, a father of 3, the same man who had lived among them all these years. People were stunned. One neighbor said he'd smile and wave like nothing ever happened, all while knowing what he did. In court, prosecutors presented the DNA evidence. They painted Tim Bass as a predator who stalked Mandy on a run. But Tim's defense argued something shocking. They claimed Tim and Mandy had a consensual relationship. They said that's why his DNA was on her. Mandy's friends and family were furious. Her mother said, "Mandy didn't even know him like that. This is disgusting." Still, the jury deliberated. And after hours of debate, they delivered a guilty verdict. Tim Bass was sentenced to 27 years in prison. But here's where the story twists again. Months after his conviction, new evidence emerged. A former co-worker claimed Tim Bass bragged about something the police never revealed. Something that could change everything we thought we knew. And then, another chilling development. Someone else stepped forward, claiming Tim might not have acted alone. Who is this mysterious second person? And what secret did Tim Bass keep hidden for 30 years? Remember to comment, like, and subscribe to this channel. Last time, Tim Bass, the quiet neighbor no one suspected. Arrested, convicted, sentenced to 27 years behind bars for the murder of 18-year-old Mandy Stavik. Justice, finally, after 30 years. But then, a bombshell. A former co-worker came forward. He said Tim once bragged about something the police never told the public. Something so chilling, it could change everything. And then came an even darker claim. Tim Bass might not have acted alone. The co-worker's name was Kevin O'Reilly. He told detectives that one night, after a few beers, Tim Bass leaned in and whispered, "I didn't do it alone, and you'll never guess who helped me." Chills. Investigators leaned forward. Who was he talking about? Kevin said Tim refused to name names, but he kept saying, "They can't touch us, too much time has passed." This detail had never been in any police reports. It wasn't part of the trial. So why mention it now? Was Kevin lying? Or was there another killer walking free? Detectives reopened the case again, this time looking for an accomplice. They went through old witness statements. One name kept popping up, Rick Johnson, Tim's childhood friend. Back in 1989, Rick lived just a mile away. He'd often hang out with Tim, and he had a reputation for trouble. But Rick had moved out of state in the early 1990s and hadn't been seen in decades. When investigators tracked him down, Rick was living quietly in Arizona. He had no idea police were coming. Rick denied everything. "I barely remember 1989. I had nothing to do with that girl," he said. But when detectives mentioned Tim's name, Rick froze. He shifted in his seat. His hands trembled. Then he asked a strange question. "Did Tim say something about me?" Investigators didn't answer. Instead, they asked for his DNA. Rick hesitated, but eventually agreed. The results came back days later. Rick Johnson's DNA was not on Mandy Stavik, but that didn't clear him entirely. A palm print found on Mandy's abandoned running shoe, collected but never matched in 1989, belonged to Rick Johnson. That shoe had been found near the river where Mandy's body was discovered. And for decades, no one could figure out how it got there. Confronted with the evidence, Rick broke. He admitted he was there that day, but claimed he didn't kill Mandy. According to Rick, Tim was obsessed with her. He talked about Mandy for months. He wanted her, and he wouldn't shut up about it. That day, he told me to drive him to her running route. He said he just wanted to talk to her, but it got out of hand. Rick claimed Tim forced Mandy into his truck while Rick sat behind the wheel, terrified. He said he begged him to stop, but Tim wouldn't listen. Rick said he left before Mandy was killed, but detectives weren't convinced. News broke. Another man may have been involved in Mandy's death. The community that had barely healed now felt betrayed all over again. Was justice even real if there was still someone walking free? Mandy's mother was devastated. "We thought it was over. Now, I don't know what to think." From prison, Tim Bass heard about Rick's confession. For the first time since his conviction, he spoke publicly. Through his lawyer, he claimed, "Rick is lying. I had nothing to do with Mandy. He's the one who killed her. He's blaming me because I'm already in prison." This was stunning because Tim had never once admitted or denied details at trial. Now he was pointing fingers hard. Detectives dug deeper. They discovered something chilling in Rick's past. In 1993, Rick had been accused of assaulting another woman, but was never charged due to lack of evidence. In 1997, he abruptly moved states and changed jobs frequently. Was Rick Johnson the real killer? Or was this just a desperate attempt by Tim Bass to clear his name? Mandy's sister, Molly, said it best. "We thought we could finally breathe. But now it's like we're back in 1989 again." The Stavik family begged authorities to push forward. Detectives agreed. The case was reopened again. And this time, they would look at every detail as if it were day one. Then came an unexpected call. A woman named Linda Watkins claimed she saw something on the day Mandy vanished. She was just 15 at the time and too scared to speak back then. Linda said she saw two men in a truck arguing with Mandy near the trail. One of them was Tim Bass. The other matched Rick Johnson's description. For 3 decades, she kept silent out of fear. But seeing the headlines now, she couldn't hold it in any longer. With Linda's testimony, police had enough to charge Rick Johnson as an accomplice. But before they could arrest him, he disappeared. Rick's home was empty. His phone was off. His car was missing. 2 weeks later, Rick's car was found abandoned near the Mexican border. Inside was a chilling note. You'll never find the truth. You got the wrong guy again. Next to the note was something that stopped detectives cold. A photograph of Mandy Stavik and two other young women they didn't recognize. Who were those women? Were they victims too? Was Rick Johnson a serial predator who had been hiding in plain sight, just like Tim? As investigators raced to identify the women in the photo, another phone call came in. A woman claimed she was one of the women in the picture, and she was ready to talk. Her words sent chills through the entire task force. It's worse than you think, and Tim Bass wasn't the only one. Thanks for watching. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe to this channel.